Can you actually build an working app end to end if you are not a technical person? Labs have been telling us that it is possible. You could just speak to an AI agent and build an app end to end, even if you are not a developer, doesn't know how to build software, or have never done this before. For context, I'm Sandeep. My background is pretty much non-technical. I've been a product manager. I know a little bit about building software and software development lifecycle in general, but I have no idea how to write a code. I couldn't write a line of code if my life depended on it. So this is an experiment trying to see if we could go from an idea to a working app if you are a non-technical person using Claude Code. So what we're going to do is we are going to try to do this in a 6-part series and try to cover from end to end, from the idea to building an app using Claude Code. So the idea that we are going to build is an app where you could actually talk to the app on your phone, and that basically transcribe what you talk and then would make sense of what you just shared. For example, if you're on a jog or a run, you have an idea in your mind, you could just hit record and you could talk into the app, and then it basically synthesizes what you just spoke and try to convert that into some kind of an artifact that you could use. For example, a blog post, a tweet chain, or a product feature, or whatever that could be. So there are a bunch of these kind of apps in the market. We are not going to look into any of those apps, but we are trying to build something by ourselves, something that I would like to use and the features that I'm looking for. So the way we are going to build this is we are not just going to go into Claude Code and just type I want to build this app. We are going to kind of follow a certain process that I think should be followed. Like, this is not a set process, this is not a methodology or anything, but this is something that I thought we should do it. So here is what we are going to do. We are going to do the brainstorming. We're going to write PRDs or build PRDs, which is product requirement documentation. We are going to brainstorm with Claude on what kind of architecture we would use, what kind of backend, front end, all of that. And we're going to document all of these things. And then in the end or in between, we are going to use these documentation then to code and then publish. So we are not going to just straight go into coding via Claude. So we're going to do all of this using Claude Code. So if you are someone like me with no coding knowledge at all and would like to follow along, or maybe you have an idea and you want to just build yours along with this, that would be good to have as well. So that's what we are going to do. We are going to figure it out, or we are going to kind of try to face this in 6 to 7 episodes. We'll try to fit each episode anywhere between 20 to 30 minutes. So we'll see where we get. If we need more parts, we will do more parts. All right. Okay, like we talked about, we are going to go through this process. So it's a 7-step process, from idea to discussing the idea, brainstorming, writing PRDs, architecture, front end, coding, and then publishing. So that's what we are going to follow. So before we do any of that, few basics. So if you don't already have Claude Code, you need to install the Claude Code desktop app, or you could use VS Code or anything else. But for the sake of keeping it to basics, we are going to use the Claude Code desktop app. So if you don't have that already, you need to go into claudecode.com and download for whatever computer you have. And then you also need a paid plan to use this. So it's better if you have the max 5x or 10x plan, but the normal professional plan will work as well, but you are going to hit limits very quickly. So that's the basics of it. So once you have Claude Code installed, the application is going to look something like this. So home is where you will basically have chat and co-work. So we are not going to go into that today. So we are going to use code. So you're going to code, and you start a new session. All right. So when you start a new session, actually before all of that, you should check few things. So in the settings, you have something called as extensions, and sorry, it's not extensions, it's plugins. So in the plugins, you need to make sure you have few plugins that are already installed. So one of them is product management. So make sure you have installed these plugins for product management. That's the most important one. I don't think we are going to need anything else in this, but if you do need to install plugins and you don't have one here, so you just go browse and you will see all the Anthropic plugins. That is, these are published by Anthropic officially. So you could just click here and then install. While you are here, maybe install the design as well. It's because we do some little bit of work on the front end design, it might help. That's it. So these are the basics. Install the Claude Code desktop app, have the applied plan, and go to settings, plugins, and install product management and design. So these are your basics to start with. Once you have that, you're going to start a new session. And in the new session, you will see here, if you're for the first time, you will see nothing here. You'll just see add folder, if I'm not wrong. Or if you don't see that, you click on add folder icon here. And then you look for the folder that you want to work. So basically, this is the folder where all your documentation will be saved. This is the folder where your Claude will go and look up for context. This is the folder where you're going to save your code in and anything that's related to what you're building. Okay, so go select that folder. And once you select that folder, then you can start working on it, right? So you select the folder, and the other thing that you need to make sure is you have the right model. So my go-to model for anything coding related is Opus 4.8. Fable 5 is good, but it's very, very expensive, so you're not going to use that. We're going to use Opus 4.8. It is expensive as well, but it is much better with coding tasks, in my opinion, with limited testing that I have done before. And we are going to set the effort to high. High is usually enough, at least when we are writing documentation and all of that. Yeah, and here, so you will see you have a bunch of things like manual, accept edits, plan, and auto. When we are doing the documentation related work, so that is when we are discussing the architecture, the features, and everything that we are going to build, we are going to use plan. And when we are actually writing the code, we are going to use auto. So these are the basic things that you need to go set up. Once you're set up, we are ready to go. Okay, now that we are ready with the basic setups, let's start doing the actual work. So we are going to do a lot of planning before we start building the product, right? So we are going to work on a lot of brainstorming, a lot of documentation, a lot of planning before we actually get in and do the coding itself. So before anything, before we actually start doing the work, it is recommended that we kind of give as much context as possible to Claude so that it has as much information as possible and can use that information while we are working and while we are building the app. So instead of me trying to guess what that should be, I just asked Claude Code saying, if I'm starting a new project to build an Android app, before we start working on the app, what are the absolute basics you recommend we work on? And the recommendation that Claude gave back are like 3 documents. So one is claude.md, which is basically an file that are set of rules that Claude will follow while building this app. And also it has a bunch of details that Claude will rely on instead of asking you or instead of we having to prompt it again and again. The second doc is basically product.md. It is essentially an PRD. So we are going to work on that and then build that first, right? And the third one that it asks for is architecture.md. It basically has what kind of programming language we use, what kind of architecture we use, what is the backend, what is the front end, what kind of middleware do you use, and all those kind of structures. Where is the data stored? How are you going to authenticate users? All those kind of decisions, right? And then obviously, then the rest is optional, which is basically roadmap and other things. So what we are going to do is we are going to kind of create these three documents first: claude.md, product.md, and architecture.md. So we now start with new session. You choose whatever the root folder that you're working on. Okay. And what I would do is basically invoke the product management plugin that we had, right? So I'm going to say product brainstorming. Okay. So that's basically an Anthropic's plugin that we installed, Anthropic's official plugin. It has the built-in skills that are required to generate product ideas and also refine the product ideas that we are going to talk through, and it will help us build a very robust uh, product requirement document, or PRD, which basically converts into product.md, right? So we invoke that, and then instead of typing our app ideas, I'm just going to dictate it. Yeah. So we click on the voice note here. I want to build an Android app that listens to what I say when I hit record and synthesizes this whatever I said into something useful artifacts like an blog post, a tweet thread, or a product document, or an product requirements, or an product feature brainstorm, etc. So that could be anything. I want the app to be able to record very quickly and use LLM to parse this data, and then organize this by topics, organize this by dates, organize these by notebooks maybe, and be able to, the user should be able to do this on the go, like while they're driving, while they are running, while they are jogging, while they are working out. So the basic idea is that user should be able to capture the ideas very quickly and then synthesize those ideas without losing them. Okay, so that's it. So one of the underrated features of Claude Code is being able to just talk to it. Writing a prompt is good, but when you are brainstorming product ideas and you don't have any structured prompt, it's good to just use a voice note, whether the inbuilt Claude Code's voice note or Whisperflow or any similar software, and just brain dump whatever you have, right? So we are going to do that now, and let's see where we come back with, right? And actually we forgot to change this to plan, so let's hit that plan now. Okay, and I'm going to say continue, and as you can see, we are using Opus 4.5. 4.8, I'm going to use it to high instead of extra. Okay, continue. Okay, so Opus 4.8 thinks a little bit, so it's going to take few minutes for it to synthesize all of this and come back with the information. So as you can see, just popping out some of the it's showing us the model's thinking. So what we're going to do now is brainstorm with Claude, come up with the top features that we want, the P1, P0, P1, that is what is the absolute minimum that you need right away, and what are the things that we want to plan for the future roadmap. So we are going to kind of build on to that, and then we'll see where we end up, right? So we have some questions from Claude. Let's try to answer it. What tech stack would you want to, well, the app itself? I say I have no experience in this area. Please recommend. Okay. What's the next question? How should speech to text idea capture work? Record audio first, transcribe when online. Yes. Where should the data live and sync? Superbase is good. I mean, I don't know whether it's good or bad, but it's easy to use, and since Claude is recommending, we're going to use that. Which LLM should synthesize the artifacts? Claude recommended. We'll go with Claude for now, but I want to see what is the cheapest model we could use, whether that's Kimi 5 or another Chinese open source model. So we'll see what that would be. We'll just build it with Claude for now, and then we'll flip the model later. All right, so it's going and thinking. Let's see where we end up with. Okay, Claude has come back with certain things. It has built a plan. This is actually, maybe it's because of the model, but ideally when I did this or when I tried this previously, it would brainstorm with you on the features and ask those things. But maybe it's because Opus 4.8 is a little bit more agentic, like it does some of the work for you, right? So it has already done the plan and it's asking whether we should accept or reject or whatever, right? So what I'm going to do is just open the plan first. Let's look at the plan, understand where we are, and then if we have any questions. So the plan is open here. Okay, context, you want an Android app, spoken ideas instantly, hit record while driving, running, working out, never lose them. Decisions, so these are the ones that we answered. So this is the architecture. Hit record, export audio, save to the device, and the audio file, it goes to the local queue, it goes to OpenAI when online, and then Claude. I don't know why it goes to OpenAI, is I have to see. And then these are the artifacts, right? So data models, and these are like all the architecture decisions that it has notes and whatever. Yeah. Okay, so these are the edge functions. App screen, so this is important. So it has an record home, it has capture details, it has library, and it has settings. Build phases, as you can see, it has phase 0 scaffolding, phase 1 MVP, phase 2 on the go, and phase 3 polish optional, right? So it has basically divided the whole app into different phases. So like I said, P1, P0, P1, P2, and these are the key files it has created. Okay, so for someone like me who doesn't understand a lot of technical details, this plan looks decent enough. Like I don't know what we would do differently, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say revise, and I'm going to say relook at the plan to a blind spot sweep, right? To a blind spot sweep. See what we are missing. Anything we could add, remove. Yeah, that's all basically, and we let it go. Yeah, so this is basically helps Claude to kind of re-look at, revise that, have a second look at the plan. So that way, it's basically an kind of an quality check. Basically, that's all. Okay, it's going and doing the work now, so we'll wait. Okay, so it has come back with certain things, right? So it has come back with to say, hey, I looked at it, and here are the things that I think we should relook at, right? It says Expo Go can't do background audio or widgets. Background recording plus home screen tile requires a custom native module. So this is a big mess, right? So we were planning on having this in P1. Bluetooth mic and audio focus interruptions. Driving running means car audio and all of that. So this is central. It's good to keep a note of that. Recording trust. If you can't see its recording timer, you won't trust it with an idea. You can't afford to lose missing. Long recordings, whisper caps at a computer ramble exceeds it, needs chunking, also affects cost. Okay. Important, offline reading, not just offline writing, failure isolation, refinement loop, nice to have, hands free candidate. So I'm not worried about nice to have. So it has now some questions for us. Let's go and answer them. In-app fast record is fine for V1. Open app, one big button already focused. Okay, so I didn't think of this. What it's asking is, for V1, do we want to just open the app, or do we need to have someone open the app and hit record, or do you want an widget on mobile's home screen where you could hit record without having to open the app and it'll do it in the background? I think I would like this. Let's see. What should happen to the original audio after it's transcribed? Keep audio, enables playback and retranscribe, delete after successful transcription. I think we'll keep temporarily and delete after a few days. How important is refining an artifact after the first generation for V1? Yes. Okay, so it's going to now revise the plan that it has built previously, right? Okay, at this point, we are just going to accept the plan. Just accept the plan. Okay, I'm going to deny this because I don't want it building yet. Okay, say don't build anything yet and change this to manual again. Sorry, plan again. Don't build anything yet. Let us create a claude.md file for this requirement. You should already have all the info, but ask me if anything is missing. So because it already has the PRD and we have captured architecture and everything in it, so claude.md should be very straightforward, but let's do that. Okay, what should that be called? We forgot about it. We didn't even name the app. Echo, Ramble. I think I like Ramble. Let's go with Ramble. Which accounts API keys do you already have? Don't have these now, we'll provide later. So the reason it is asking it wants to store those in the file so that you don't have to put them in the charts. How should we handle the supervised project? Yeah, create a new project where connected. So I already have some testing projects that are ongoing. So I have connected my supervised MCB. So we could just use that. Yeah, so it's asking whether it wants to, whether we are okay to create the claude.md file. Because we are in plan mode, it doesn't go and do the action. It is just asking us for permission. So I wanted to create, let's go ahead and also copy over the product document we built previously to this folder. Okay, so one minor housekeeping thing is because I have mounted my Google Drive and I set up the folder on Google Drive. Claude is basically saying don't use the Google Drive as your root folder. Instead, use the local drive. So that's why it's not going and working in the folder that I asked it to work on. It is asking permission to create it. Sorry, new folder on the local drive. So what are the three documents that Claude asks us to create? So one is the product requirements document, which we already created. One is the claude.md. What is the other one? Architecture.md. So we already have the architecture in claude.md and in PRD. So maybe we don't need it, but let's see whether we should just ask Claude if we need to create a separate document for it. Okay, I'm going to ask, should we build a new architecture.md file, or does the PRD and the plan document already contain this? I'm still not used to using the voice mode frequently natively in the app. Okay, so I think we'll wrap it up for today's session as part one. We'll come back tomorrow and then we'll continue refining the documentation. We don't or may not have to refine the documentation, but one of the things that I would love to do is understand what architecture we have. So we basically go into details, ask Claude to explain what it is and build further on that. And then once we are clear on what we are building, the architecture that we are using and what Claude is recommending, once we are comfortable with that, then we move on to the next step. Hope this is useful. We'll come back and continue this. So if you are also wanting to build something or try something out, have an idea, I recommend follow along, try to build something simple or whatever idea that you have in your mind. It'll be fun. Yeah, let us continue this session in part two.